Chopping my tree? Who's chopping my tree?
Who's chopping your tree?
Yeah.
Can you chop trees in people's claim?
Well,
Oh, go
I
figure.
can't tell. Is it on your claim or is it like hanging off it?
It
No,
should
it's
be
totally on it.
on both, yeah.
What the heck?
It extends beyond the claim though, it goes like
Oh, it's
above.
sticking out the top.
Alright, I'm going to keep on posting questions here, but I'm going to get us started with the first one as soon as I switch up the topic indicator.
Nice.
Okie dokie. We are now in Q&A time.
Oh, I mucked it up. I moved. Sorry. There we go. Me and Locke are trying to embrace land. Oh, not. That's yeah, almost. I'm looking you dead in the eye.
Alright, so that's a lot of questions already. Okay,
All the questions.
all the questions. Alright, starting from the very top here, we have D-Man asks, are swap meets a bad thing if you don't learn to make the things or understand things?
What?
Are swap meets a bad thing if you don't learn to make things or understand things?
I feel like
So
I
basically-
heard, but
Yeah, what they're saying is, are swap meets limiting or lazy people not spending the time to work out how microvoxels work, to not experiment with their building tools, to basically just think, you know what, I'm too buggered, I couldn't be asked making something, I'm going to go to a swap meet and just, you know, template somebody else's hard earned, but, you know, hard work. I mean, the idea is to perpetuate the building and get people creative, showing each other and allowing them to use these other ideas. But it's also, I think, it is on a level, new players that come in that haven't had to spend all this time mucking around with voxels and seeing how they react with other voxels and stuff like that. If they see these swap, make them lazy, you know, lazy builders where they're just running around using pre-templated stuff rather than doing it themselves and really getting a hang of what the essence of what Landmark's kind of about.
I think the people. I think the people who were innovating before and actually put those things at the swap meets, I think they will continue to do it. And I think the people who kind of didn't really enjoy building that much anyway, or just kind of put up a crap shack and kind of called it a day, or whatever, I think those are the people who are going to be using that stuff anyway, and it's not really taking away. Like, the people who were innovating before are still going to do it. The people who weren't innovating are going to use the templates now and have a slightly nicer crap shack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might not even be a crap shack at that point.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are good and bad things about it. I can see though, if only certain types of things are going to be put up at swap meets, you're going to start seeing a lot of the same thing popping up everywhere. Like, it's sort of originality is going to sort of go out the window, and you're going to see a lot of clone claims popping up because one particular template that someone's put up is going to be a lot more popular than say something else, and so then all of a sudden everyone starts using it, and it's, I mean, that may all change once they implement the marketplace, you know, the player studio. That may change, but the last thing I want to see is people not using their own creativity, as little or as big, you know, as that is, at least trying, rather than just rocking around someone's claim and, you know, stealing a whole bunch of stuff and then going, hey, look what I built on, you know, Landmark.
Yeah,
It's
Moblur.
still going to happen.
Moblur in chat was saying, I think once Studio goes live, you're going to have a ton of people buying all, you know, that stuff, and they won't have made those items either. It's the same thing. Like, you know, it doesn't have to be bad.
Cool. Alright. Next question. Damien Knight. Where the fuck did wormholes come from? We were talking about procedurally generated content out in places where it's kind of wild and constantly being generated.
I was just noting the parallel towards if you had an area that had no static connection to something to the surface, the mapped surface. If you had, it's a parallel to wormholes in Eve, which if you play Eve, then you've had experience with that, and then it's fun.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay. So, by the way, the first question was from D-Man66613. The next one was from Damian Knight. Now, this next question here is from Kodavos, and in fact, the next two are. Question: Can grappling hooks be legendary when crafted? Pretty sure. It's rare, but I'm pretty sure. Anybody know about that one? Yes, no?
Nope, not that I know.
Mm-mm.
Okay. It's like all items, I'm pretty sure a legendary variety can come out of it. Just keep on trying. It's not going to be a prime grappler, I can tell you that. Alright, next question from Kodavos. What are your contest builds going to be? Why would we share that? It's a secret. Does anybody want to share?
I haven't really decided yet, so I have really nothing to share.
Mine's gonna be all
Same
lights
here.
and nothing else.
All lights, hell yes.
Sorry, I had to.
I'm not doing anything.
Actually, on that subject, what if you did like a light sculpture? Even if you did it all in white or something. Like, what if you did like a light sculpture?
That could be fun.
Cool.
That'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
Because you can use spheres of any size now, so
Yeah.
that's pretty neat. Okie dokie. Next question from Wick. With caves being able to spawn nearly anywhere, and when the game goes truly public, do you think there will be a problem with caves spawning into and possibly running into underground player builds? No, because the algorithm they use for procedural generation will affect it in either one of two ways. One, if it comes to a claim, it'll just stop where the claim is and continue at the other end and just kind of ignore the claim. Or two, it'll actually have detection for claims and it'll just kind of wrap around it. It's definitely one or the other. They're not going to affect actual claims. No possible way. It's the same as how ore doesn't spawn on people's claims right now.
Yeah.
Alright, next question, Arudanel. I probably have been butchering it this whole time. Did you guys hear a small snippet of the guild versus guild and no more PvE factions, just factions in general? Any thoughts?
I didn't hear about that. Anyone else know more about that?
I have
Nope.
never heard that.
Source, please.
I feel like I remember hearing something about like
for
the idea that you can enter somebody's claim and maybe the factions are defined. You just you come in as one or the other and you duke it out, or how that works. I'm not 100% sure.
I do know what he's talking about. Like the faction system is, we're expecting it to be very kind of deep and complex in EQ Next. Like there's ideas about PvP and PvE being tied to faction rather than server or area and everything, which is quite interesting. As far as Landmark goes, though, I mean, I think it's going to be pretty much, it's like a free-for-all thing, really, isn't it? It's like whoever you want to team up with, because there's no story or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it was really just talking about in the general context that two guilds or any generally associated group could go to these awesome battlefield claims and just duke it out there. I don't think they're necessarily saying like that there's going to be built-in factions that you have to join and designate and stuff. But it's early. We really don't know. All right. Throckmorton. do you think we might get a detached claim that can only be used in our claim buffer so we can make roads or watchtowers near our main claims? Maybe. It's actually something that I had proposed in the past, the idea of between your claim and somebody else's claim, being able to put like a road planning sort of thing down that doesn't necessarily cost as much of as a claim, and maybe you have a lot more versatility than you would with a normal claim, but the idea is that it's kind of flat and narrow over long areas so that people can make roads with it from one place to another. But I don't know if they're going to be doing anything like that. I really have no idea what kind of road systems they're actually going to have, or if it's just, build it up on your own and just have all of those claims. What do you folks think?
It doesn't really make sense to have something not connected to your claim, I guess. It also seems like it would sort of prevent other people from building. Maybe I'm not understanding
No,
what you're saying.
they're saying like, you've got your claim in one spot and then not necessarily adjacent to it, but one spot over a separated claim that maybe has the a road mountainside to to get somebody at least into view of where your actual claim is at. So there's distance between where that little road is built up and where your actual claim is. It doesn't really. I mean, there's definitely ways to do that already. I'm pretty sure, unless they've changed it, I'm pretty sure you can actually delete the middle claim out of like a two attachment claim string, and have the third one at the end of the string stay there, so you can still just create a gap as it is. I'm not sure if they've changed that at all. I'm pretty sure that's how it works though.
Okay, I had misunderstood then because I thought you were referring to like basically almost like free placement of attached claims. Like, I thought that's what that, like basically instead of having to attach it, like just be
Yeah.
able to place anywhere in your buffer, which would be cool. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Wick said you can already gap your claims by doing the leapfrogging attachment, so it's already possible to do that basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Next question, Caernarvon. What kind of death penalties could you envision from within Landmark? Plenty!
Yeah, their options are many and scary, to be honest.
Losing
Except that there's no
resources,
levels. Yeah, resources.
or equipment being damaged or lost, or being unavailable until that specific creature is killed. If it was a creature. Now that's the thing. There's going to be 3 ways to die: die by players, die by creatures, and die by environment/suicide.
Like falling.
Yes, like falling, like I don't know, maybe a boulder with physics was dug up from above you, or there's there was something in Terraria that I loved, that there are these active blocks that could be turned on and off. You'd sometimes walk across a switch that turns the blocks off, and then a boulder falls from above on top of you. So that sort of thing would be fun to have, because in the caves it doesn't just have to be little props here and there. There's a good chance that we're going to be finding little lost temples and alien architecture and stuff kind of hidden in there. So traps and danger like that sort of stuff, it's definitely a possibility. And, maybe there could be different conditions, like how far down you are, what kind of tier of region that you're in, or something actually determines the circumstances of death. If you just got one shot eaten by a chomper, maybe the consequences aren't as bad because you couldn't have done anything about it. Who knows?
Is it weird that I kind of look forward to death by drowning?
A little bit.
Because that means water's
We've
in.
got 2 things. Because water's in, yeah, exactly.
Oh, I get it.
I'm
not gonna judge.
I think, yeah, I'm just, yeah. Anyway, I think another option would be sort of a res sickness, in a way, like you're you suck at fighting for 10 minutes or something. Like you're recovering from your wounds or whatever, like for 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's definitely a
Your aim
possibility.
is
I'm
horrible.
not a fan of the whole res sickness thing, to be honest. I
Why is
feel
that?
like it's kind of. Well, I feel like, you know, losing resources and everything is like a punishment, but like the res sickness thing, it's like, right, you messed up and now you're not allowed to play for the next 10 minutes. It just seems like, you know, being put in the naughty corner, like you've done something bad, whereas actually, you know, you almost want to reward players for dying because it means they were doing something risky, and it means they were,
Yeah.
you know, it means they were like pushing the limit.
You
That
know,
makes sense.
thinking
Rather,
about
you
it,
know, you don't want to reward people for playing it safe.
in the context of a subscription based MMO, that's definitely one of those like needless time wasters they'll do. It really doesn't need to be that way in this game. There's no real context. They're not earning extra money by just, or you know, earning extra value just by having you logged in and not doing anything. So the res sickness probably wouldn't. If there was a res sickness, it would definitely have to target the thing you weren't doing. Like if you died to environment, maybe you can still harvest materials the same, but you're limited in fighting a little bit. Or maybe it's the other way around, that if you died to environment, you can still fight just fine, but your picks and your tools and everything will be slow for a moment. There's, you know, a lot of ways they could weave it in and actually have it work, but ultimately something where somebody's standing around waiting for a timer to go up before they actually dare to venture out in the world again, it doesn't really seem like it has a place in this game.
Yeah, that's true. I get that.
Maybe lose some resources, maybe lose some currency. Maybe if there's a durability system, you suffer a little bit of damage or loss of stuff. But other than that, I feel like the way Terraria does it, just a very simply, you have died, press the button, you're back at your start point, and whatever you've lost, and you can potentially go back in the world and recover.
Yeah, I think like going back to some sort of bind point would be interesting, or maybe even like having the option of going to one of your claims. That might be
But then
good
it's
because
like a
then you know
hearth.
it's. Yeah,
Isn't
but you know why not? I mean, if you do, I suppose the trick is, in my opinion, the trick is you want to encourage people to take risks. So you want the reward for taking the risk to be worth the penalty you get if you fail.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the trick, isn't it?
Well, yeah, part of that's
It's
actually
also
the
like-
perception of actual, you know, reward for the type of risk. Because someone can just walk into a nest of creatures and not know
Yeah.
there's any treasure, and there might not be any. And creatures might not drop anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, perception's definitely a big part of it, but I don't know. I just feel like you want players to be taking risks and always going as far as they can. I think if players are holding back, then I think, you know, it's not quite where it needs to be.
Right.
I
But
like that
I had
idea,
a
but I
point.
don't know if
It's
that's.
totally gone.
I like that idea, but I don't know if that's where they're going with it because they keep saying like death will have teeth, and you know, like I kind of wonder if they're actually going to go the opposite way and have it be punishing. Which I don't know if I
Well,
like.
I mean, I'm sure it'll have like I'm sure you'll lose resources, but if it's just like if it's a positional thing, like if it's like you die and like Reese says you just pop back up somewhere, you know, you can pick wherever claim you're gonna get, or however it is, the spire of the island that you're on maybe. On your journey back to where you were, you know, you can pick up everything on the way again. So it's kind of like you're not where you wanted to be. So let's say you were like going for a tier 3 thing. You were all the way down there. You were getting the higher level stuff, and it's like, okay, so you died while you were down there, and it put you back. But on your way back there, you're still getting things that are valuable. You can stop off at the copper vein and get that, or like if you go past a rare tree on your way back to the cave that you were in, like you can chop that down. So even though you have died, you're not optimal at that point. Like you're still kind of gathering stuff on the way. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. There's so many different ways that death could go, and then the other thing is, if there's the option to turn on PvP in the open world and the limitations with that, because I've seen in MMOs in the past, and not even MMOs, just some regular old games, you don't lose anything if you're killed by a player, but you lose everything if you're killed by a monster. So what people would do is, if the situation was really critical, the one person that would potentially be able to get out of the situation, they just enable PvP. That person kills the other person, so they don't die to the monster and they don't lose their stuff. And the person who is able to survive, they just run like hell and maybe come back and res them if they can. But if they can't, oh well. And that's the sort of thing I really hope they balance for, because I would hate for someone to be, almost on the brink of death, and then they can enable PvP and have another player come along, hit them once, and they don't have any loss from the what should have been a tragic circumstance.
Well, yeah, I mean that seems like more of a design flaw than anything that was intended.
Tricky
It's
mechanic.
cool, actually. I kind of like it. I like it.
Kill your friends to save their stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, why not? That's you know what that is?
I'm
You
gonna
know what that is?
kill
That's
me.
incentive to play together. That's
Yeah, that's
incentive
true.
To play as a group. Why not? I like it. Do it.
That's I mean, just as much I want to be able to pick up the corpse of a fallen ally and throw it at an enemy, or swing it around like a weapon. No.
Yes.
That would be an interesting piece of equipment that would have to give you that sort of an option. But that's
Corpse thrower.
yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so they've talked about it a little bit with the modularity of the game, that they want it to be every piece of equipment gives you not just stats but abilities and stuff. So I think of like Rogue Legacy or the Binding of Isaac and the amount of combinations available. Like Binding of Isaac, every run you're going to get different items and you're going to have different combinations. So the idea that you can actually control those kinds of combinations, where you've got maybe something that you spit 4 fireballs and they orbit around you or something, and while they're orbiting you've got mana regeneration or something. That's the sort of combinations they could even make in the game. So PvP in combat could be a really, really interesting thing, and that sort of diversity, and that could make it easier for you to kill your buddies on the fly if you need to as well. The availability of the abilities and stuff. Maybe it's good to kill your buddy and throw their corpse at something, or use it as a bludgeoning weapon. So before I go to the next question, I see we got some cool build stuff going on. Uni, you've got some face on the tree going on. That's pretty cool. Locke, looks like you're just watching
That
someone
needs
dance.
to be more terrifying.
That's how I roll.
Era, you got a treehouse platform going on over there, it looks like.
Yeah. I don't know. Just doing things.
Looks like Stackus, you're over on your claim. Doing some Tron
Yeah,
work.
just
Cool.
working on some consoles for Flynn's arcade. I found a massive bug with the stained glass windows, the new ones.
Oh yeah?
Do tell.
Yeah, basically when you place them down, you muck around with them, resize them, put them on whatever angle or whatever you want. Because I know with a lot of other props, you can actually use the selection tool to select. If you've got a particular prop in a certain configuration, you can use the select tool, select it, control cut or copy or whatever, and you can actually pick up that claim and that prop and replace it in exactly the same orientation. And I've been trying to use that with these. Every single time you try to move them from where you've placed them, they sort of resize themselves and don't come back normally. Like I don't know if you can see on the stream how they've kind of all got really big and overlapped. I'm trying to make a cover light for a pool table.
Yeah.
The and they've all gotten much larger, and they've all gone wonky and stuff. They weren't like that when I left, but every time I respawn back in, or if I try to cut them and then template them and repaste them, they completely forget whatever configuration I had them in, and they go all wonky.
So
It's a pain.
just like doors, they've got some issues. Good to know.
Yeah. I noticed there was a bug
Yeah.
with making the lights too. Like you have to have, even though they do stack, you have to have 10, at least I had to have 10 inventory slots available in order to make them.
Weird.
Yeah.
And Tobrin, I see you're building down there. You've got a little message for Locke. Locke talks too much, apparently. Tobrin's
Aw.
words, not mine.
That's not fair.
It's because Tobrin hasn't been talking at all.
Tobin, what are your thoughts?
He's
Jaffa,
told-
Jaffa, Jaffa,
It's
Jaffa,
not,
Jaffa,
it's not
Jaffa,
even,
Jaffa,
It's
Jaffa.
not even listening anymore.
No.
He's giving up.
I think that's why he's got the message up.
Jaffa, Jaffa, Jaffa.
Oh man, that's too funny. Okay. So next question. Gotta scroll down, figure out where we are again. Death. That was the last one. Okay, next one from Kodavos. I thought we were just getting 2 toolbar trays. Do we have 9 or only 2 to work with? We have more than 1 toolbar tray? Holy shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm pretty sure you've got 10, including 0,
Yeah,
which
because
is
zero
your
counts. as
primary.
well,
So
You've got 10 hotbars.
is it like shift and number to get to those or something?
Control number.
Okay.
I didn't actually try it. Did anyone actually see if the others work? Because they only said 1 extra.
Yeah,
They do work.
no, they work.
Hey!
Make sure I didn't miss any questions there. Okay.
Good. Do you think they're expecting us to need to use that many configurations in this game?
I've already
Possibly.
got at least 3 in mind. Just general build, general exploration, and general combat. And with general build, I might not might need more than 1 if I've got a lot of props that I'm using regularly. I might just need a whole toolbar full of props, or 2 toolbars with all the building tools and then half the props, so I can just switch between them as I need them.
I bet that like PvP versus standard combat.
Yep, yeah. And they might even make templates something that's able to go on a hotbar. So, that alone could take up many hotbars. Tobrin's making an angled roof right now. Apparently muted. Okie dokie. So,
I keep forgetting I have push to talk on.
I gotcha.
Oh,
So
sharing
what?
brilliant thoughts.
What were you saying earlier then?
I can't actually remember anymore. I've only just realized that I've only been holding it down sometimes and not other times, so I've probably said a lot and not been speaking.
Oh no!
No.
I know the feeling. I did see you talking a few times and didn't hear anything, so I wasn't sure if you were like
Yeah.
yelling at family or something, or roommates or whoever it may be.
Nope, I've just been talking to myself.
Yeah, well then.
Aww.
It happens. This is kind of a different system than we normally do for Into the Portal, if anybody hasn't noticed.
Yeah.
Just a bit.
just a little different than usual. Next question. Torball Head Roller. Do you think they will wipe materials and inventory once caves/mobs are put in to level the playing field? They've said no.
Yeah, we know that's not happening.
They want to keep progression, and they said that's one of the benefits of being in the beta right now before all the difficulty goes in, is that we can basically collect materials as freely as we want. I can collect thousands of, like 10,000 mithril an hour easily. It's not nearly going to be that easy when there's caves and monsters and everything. But it'll be a little easier if I go in with myself and a posse full of people armed with mithril gear and just tear everything up. Because we'll already have the top tier stuff. So everybody is okay with them not wiping materials, right? Like that's something we're all happy about, right?
I like it.
Yeah.
I think I'm
Yep.
glad that it's one less time that we have to go through the unfinished progression.
Gotcha.
You're
Okay. Damien Knight asks, how did you make the QR barcode? So that's at Eustachus, I believe?
No,
Huh?
that'll be at me.
Oh, Tobrin.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember which one
Yeah,
of you made that.
I built a QR code using just normal size voxels, and it's probably been about the right size. All you do is there's a website you can paste like any URL and it'll make a QR code, and then you just use that, do it like brick by brick, and you just get a giant QR code by the end.
Yep.
And it's pretty cool, and it actually works.
Yeah. QR codes are pretty simple, to be perfectly honest. It's just,
They really are.
yeah. I used to know this guy who could actually read the flat barcodes, just the standard ones. He actually had memorized all the stuff, so he could just look at it and actually know what the number was, or whatever it was. Pretty crazy.
Nice.
It's just, I wonder what he ended up doing. Anyway,
He
yeah,
works for the government now.
yeah.
We never saw him.
Yeah. The government wants.
A skill
The
like
government.
a
not
skill
a
like that's
government,
gonna have to
the
be
government.
used for something
The government.
abysmal and pointless. Oh well. It's a pretty cool thing anyway. All right.
I could see him using that as a pickup line in the bar. That'd go down a treat, wouldn't it? Hey there, sweetling. Did you know that I can read a QR code? Yeah, or I can read the barcodes on stuff. Like I can tell you exactly how much WoW costs just by looking at the barcode.
That would impress me. I don't know.
I think that'd be really cool. I'd be like, oh no, how did you teach me?
I would imagine
No,
they would.
I'm sorry. There's no such thing as women on the internet. You
I-
can't know the code. It's for elite people only.
I would imagine they would probably be getting punched in the face for like going up, reading the barcode on somebody's neck tattoo and saying, the barcode's off. It actually reads blah blah blah.
Like you actually have a sticker for chopped chicken on your on your neck.
Some punk on a bus. I'm sorry, sir. I disagree. Lord of the Rings was the best trilogy of all times. Or something.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, "What the hell are you on about?"
Yeah. Okay. Next question from Erudanel. Erudanel. I don't know. I'm gonna need to have them say it for me one time.
Call it Rudy.
Rudy. I like it.
Rudy.
What up? What up, Rudy?
How about the EQN themed island they mentioned? All builds locked to EQN style. What about a Care Bear island? No mobs or content at all. So I've talked about the idea of Care Bear Island in the past. I believe not only on this show on Into the Portal, but also on Live Feature Rant. And it's one of those things where they could do it if you can't harvest there at all. If all you can do there is plop down a claim and build on it, you can't harvest anything. You won't fight anything. There's no PvP. That's the only way I could see them doing a true Care Bear sort of island. And it's possible they
And
could do that.
even then, like it's not in the spirit of the game, is it? You know, like they want the game to be social, and if you think you fragment the player base in that way, people build things on this island and it goes up on the showcase because they, you know, it's this amazing thing that they built. It goes up on the showcase, and everyone goes, "Oh, it was on the Care Bear Island. It doesn't matter." You know what I mean? Because people would, wouldn't they? It's like,
Yep.
oh, it's
Yes,
on
they
there.
would.
It's on that island
Yep,
over there.
they would.
And I think they want to have the community together. They don't want people to be just building. They want people who people like myself who want to go out and run around in the world and collect things and go spelunking and fight monsters and get whatever they drop, and then, you know, pass that on to people who are really interested in doing building and everything. And if you take those people who are interested in building out of the talent pool, if you like, if you take those people out and separate them, then, you know, no one wins in that situation.
I agree.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, I can see that there would be, you know, potentially issues with it. If they were gonna do it, it definitely have to have really limited rules, and I don't know. It does seem like it does kind of violate the spirit of the game a little bit, but there's many things we could argue that violate the spirit of things. So let's move on. Devents
Penises.
asks,
I'll violate
Build a
Tobin's
dick
spirit.
and walk away.
"Little dick
I'd
and walk
really
away."
rather you
Build
didn't,
it and walk
like,
away.
Really?
I was just checking.
Real
you were
men
still
don't look
listening,
at
Toby.
penises.
Alright, so Devent
Sorry.
asks, do you think cave searching can be a form of dungeon hunting once they and the monsters are in? Hell yes!
Oh God, yeah. I hope so.
I plan to spend a lot of time doing combat in the caves during my tutorials and learning about the combat system. For sure, for sure.
I think they've talked about having tools that can sort of detect certain materials, haven't they? Whereas, you know, if you think that you could have a tool that could detect a certain material, you know, why not a Lord of the Rings style sword that would glow when orcs were nearby? You know, or something
That'd be
that
cool.
something that would make something show up so you could more easily find a certain type of enemy that you were looking for.
Yeah, or you sneeze when chompers are around. I don't know.
Or you
I think
get
that's more of
period
a
pains,
medical
which
condition.
is the
Ah,
original
right.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer power. True story.
Haven't seen that for ages.
Okay. So yeah, that's
Now
now.
I'm old school.
Now, should there, if there are, you know, potentially every creature is unique, but things that are like rare unique creatures, if they have those in the game, and I think they will, do you think they should spawn more prevalently in the caves or on the surface, or do you think they should actually transfer in between the two, that some of these creatures are so epic because they will just dig their own tunnels, or you know, go throughout the caves looking for loot and looking for people because they're that much of a badass?
Well, that's why this is an interesting question. You know, talking about mobs spawning in certain areas, you know, is less relevant than in other games, because the Storybricks AI means that every agent within the world has a kind of set of wants and needs that they have to sort of weigh against each other. So every agent within the game will basically have a living space that they like, or they'll have a goal that they want to achieve, and they'll go out and try and achieve that goal, or they'll try and find a living space that suits them. So really, like, it is up to the sort of individual NPC to like find the area that they want to go. It means, you know, we'll find certain things in certain places, you know, because they'll congregate there naturally. But yeah, as far as things spawning in specific areas, like, you know, you can never be 100% sure what you're gonna come up against in any situation, which is very exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting because you know, there's going to be a lot of times where people will go out solo and they'll find just the right encounters, or there's going to be times when people go out with a group and they'll find just the right encounters. But there's going to be a lot of times where you go out solo and you find yourself, you know, running for dear life with 50 things chasing you, being glad that they aren't the gears in the lower right, and that you've got the messenger signet equipped and a lunar anklet, so you can run and jump your way away from them and get to safety. because we're gonna need to be able to escape big masses of enemies that don't have any reason to break off pursuit. That's just gonna happen. Oh, but claims, that's the other thing. I'm just not sure how claims are going to work with creatures in combat. If things that have aggroed you off a claim will chase you, or how that's going to work.
If they do, I'm screwed because without glass, I'm screwed.
And then that asks other questions now, because I've got, what if I've got traps around my claim that are meant to help kind of kill the enemies, like just big old helicopter blade grinder sorts of things that when someone gets close enough, it chops them up. Or just mounted turrets on my claim that anybody who needs to can climb up in it and start shooting at whatever creatures are nearby. That's the sort of stuff I'm also really interested in, seeing how much interaction with like the claim and creatures in the world will actually be possible.
Well, I suppose it will come down to claim permissions, won't it? I imagine you'll be able to have a claim which is just a total non-combat zone, but then on the other hand, you'll be able to have a claim which is always 100% open to any kind of combat, whether it's, PvP, PvE, like whatever there is in the game. So, I mean, hopefully it comes down to player choice. Like, if you want as a player, I imagine eventually we'll spawn our own NPCs on our claim. If you want to like create a setup on your claim that's like a dungeon or like some kind of encounter, in that way you'll be able to place the mobs to start in the way that you want, and you'll be able to put traps in there, and hopefully we'll be able to decide whether do traps trigger when mobs go over them, or do they only trigger when players go over them. And I think that kind of, hopefully we get down to that kind of micro level, because it's when you can make like really specific decisions like that I think the really interesting designs will start to come out.
Yeah, for sure. That's it'll be really nice to see when they start. And I think a lot of it is they might not even know yet. So when they start getting closer with some of those systems, it'll really be getting feedback from the community for how to progress with it and how we want it. Or they might have an entire idea in mind and they're just going to leave it open enough so if we absolutely oppose their system, they'll be able to change it up. No idea how it's going to go, but it should be really awesome. And of course, with community feedback, we should be able to get it nice and cool. Okay, so we've still got some more questions here. We've got 30 minutes to go.
Go.
Go. Alright.
Speed round.
Question for Legendary Neurotoxin. Can you go into detail on your feelings on colored lights being sold in the marketplace? So there's actually a very great discussion that's going on the forums. You can find my post about it on Twitter. I can tweet it out again later. This is not the place. I can just do.
Have this discussion again? Are you sure?
Yeah, I can just do my own live stream and rant and naysay all of Locke's hopes and dreams for purchasable lights on my own time. Carnarvon asks, would Sergeant Stackus kindly
what? In 6 months we'll have the discussion again, and then we'll see.
Okay, you got it.
Deal.
Actually, even sooner.
Deal.
SOE Live over drinks.
Oh,
Addo meets Scotch Party. We're gonna discuss lights again.
Oh my god.
That will end well.
Well, I don't drink, so I don't know
Yeah, I'll be
whether you think that's an
sober, so
advantage or not. But
We'll see. Alright, so would Sergeant Stackus kindly indulge me by saying, what's that last word? I don't know.
I know where.
It was maybe about 6 or 7 questions up.
Ripper, you little beaut.
There.
You little beauty.
come on,
What
Stack.
a ripper.
Put some energy into it.
What a beauty. That's when you're
There
going to
he
do
is.
the crikey. Look at that little beauty. What a ripper. Something like that.
Oh man.
And
Beautiful,
that's
beautiful.
ridiculously why not? Let's perpetuate the stereotypes while we're at it.
It's basically racism, Stackus. That's what they're doing.
That's right. Borders on harassment. I feel dirty.
It's worse than what Ara says about English people. I'm joking. Nothing is worse than what Ara says about English people.
Classic. Love it.
Owie.
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
That's right. You're not the only one on the stream this time, Ara. What's the next question?
Oh,
So read the question.
I do a show.
Tobrin's
I do a show.
Tobrin's kind of busy right now, I think.
That's right.
Next
I do
question
a show.
from Zohas. How do you think they're gonna combat pirating content, like one person buying stuff off Player Studio, then setting up an underground market / swap meet, no pun intended?
I wouldn't be surprised at all if the voxels are sort of tagged internally.
They will be. They've
Yeah.
said the intent is, maybe it's not in right now, but they'll have it that anything that anybody does to any voxels, if you place it, if you delete them, if you add them, if you smooth them, if you paint them, it'll have a record of everybody who interacted with it. So if multiple people interact with the same space, it'll keep the credit of who worked on it. And that way, if something goes on Player Studio once everything's been implemented, one person puts it on Player Studio, but it accumulates everybody's work and everybody gets a piece of it. Now, the one question that's been asked in the past is whether or not templates and purchase claims in that way will actually be modifiable, because if they can't be modified, then it'd be a lot easier to limit people being able to bootleg them, essentially, because you couldn't just copy template it and then steal it away.
To be honest, it's such a massive part of their monetization strategy that I'm sure they'll have something in place that stops it from happening. I mean, what that is, like, hopefully it's player friendly. Hopefully you'll be able to add.
Oh, apparently Dave Georgeson said we can only
copy paste it.
retexture stuff from Player Studio. So that's kind of cool. I can see how that could end up leading to more like custom works, like somebody could have something templated up on the market and then someone say, hey, I'd really love to have this, but like this one little section being smooth, or these two columns being replaced with these circular columns that I have, and then being able to work with that builder to do a one specific unit sort of thing. It might not necessarily be able to go through Player Studio and through the Station Cache system, but they could trade them some appropriately valued item. Like, I'm sure Locke is thinking himself, he's saying, oh, lights, that's what lights would be for.
Nope.
Nope. Oh no, you don't think that's what lights would be for, huh?
I think that the economy will take into account the fact that some items are bought with real money and some aren't.
Fair enough. Alright. Anybody else on pirating and content and stuff? Or we can move on to the next one.
Pirates are.
Arr, indeed.
Arr.
So, Burke Dave asks, do you think that claim decorations can ever have a decay factor, paint peeling, crumbling stone, etc.? Yeah, maybe. If you're talking about like props, for example, having different states of wear, that could be definitely an interesting feature. That I group along the same lines as having one wine bottle with a label and a cork, and you can change out what the color of the label, what the color of the glass, and what the color of the cork are, and maybe even the fluid inside. And you just have the one prop, but it's got modular components that you can swap around. If they have something to that extent built in with the props, then yeah, I could see something like that where you can have different stages of, degradation and decay and damage. Maybe you've got a burnt version, maybe you've got one that's just old and weathered. Yeah, I could see that. What do you folks think?
I suppose the challenge would be like, I mean, it'd be a challenge anyway, but the real challenge would be doing it in a way that takes into account the basically limitless combinations of the ways things can be put together. Like I was thinking in my head, like on my claim, I've got like patches of dirt and moss and things. And I was thinking, well, maybe the moss could grow outwards, or maybe maybe the stone things, the texture could gradually change in patches to, make new things fall out. Maybe it could smoothen it, but to do it, for it to be done in a consistent way when there's no like real kind of pattern to the way anything's going to be done. I'm not sure. I'm not sure it could be done in a way that would be better than just going in and doing it yourself. Personally.
I think it'd be really cool to see, like, I think you could see wear as a skin, like a prop skin.
Yeah.
Where maybe it doesn't degrade over time, but there's a version that looks real beat up.
For sure. It'd be nice if they can, if they give those sorts of features to it. Okay. Next question. Rukak. This is a question about Stachys's balls.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, is Sergeant Stachys going to use colored lights as his balls on the pool table?
No, that would be too obnoxious. I mean, if you just left them unlit, that they would be good, because that's now a scalable sphere from like golf ball size up to larger than a basketball. So in that regard, yes, they would be useful, but I don't like the idea that if you had a way of maybe disabling them so they were just a static sphere rather than being an orb that can be turned on and off. I know, I guess as long as, because the problem is you can pick them up too. Like we were putting them down out in the middle of nowhere without permissions too. So I worry about if you can do that, if people are just going to be trolls and come and rip stuff off your claim.
That's really bad.
If I could put them down on Unicorn's claim without any permissions, what's to say that someone can't come onto my claim and then remove the lights off mine?
Yeah, that's really weird that that's even a thing. Definitely an oversight.
Yeah,
Bug report. Stachys, bug report's on
Green
you.
one? No, not on me.
Nope. Slash report. That's you.
Have you seen my name? I'm not risking getting it changed again.
Oh yeah. Shh.
I have an alt. It's all right. I have an alt. I'll use that.
Okay.
I really
No,
actually want to see. Go ahead.
What, you want to see me change my get my name
No.
changed again?
No, I was gonna say I really want to see a mode for permissions where you can't turn off lights or like turn things on and off, because
Yeah.
I've had that where like I have a lot of lights and someone's gone around and turned every single one of them off, and you're just like, really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I thought visitor mode initially would be able to define as allowing somebody to turn torches on and off. That maybe they need to extend the they definitely need to extend the features of what permissions you can offer people. But yeah, that's definitely one. Or people just being jerks with doors. I leave doors open when I do castles and crap checks. I know it. Even though there's no way to have it automatically shut on its own after a period of time. And that's the other thing. If you move a door to the open position and then everybody leaves and you come back after a while, I think that's part of the bug that causes the doors to get shifted into a different place. So yeah, definitely being able to limit that sort of stuff would be great.
Yeah, everyone's pointing out that, like, because I've got some decorative sticks on my claim, which apparently not, people don't understand that sticks can be decorative. Like, just accept it, it's happening. So people, they're torches, and so people light them on fire. So then it's like this ball of fire at the root of the base, and it's like, I'd like to be able to stop that.
I getcha.
Yeah.
I getcha.
On a version of my claim rather pitiful one back in Alpha. When I get the bucket, I basically flipped the torch upside down, stuck the flame part inside the bucket, then filled the bucket with aquamarine, so it looked like a mop and bucket. I had it like a little wine cellar with a bit of that in the bottom and some wine barrels and stuff.
remember that.
I'd come onto my claim to find it on fire, like a flaming mop inside a bucket that's supposed to be, full of water. And the ability to be able to disable that sort of a prop being turned on and off would be cool.
Yeah, same thing, pretty much.
Yeah, it's
sure.
exactly the same thing. You go and creating a fluoro pink Tron bike for Geek Girl Shan.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So next question. This one's for you, Super Fancy Unicorn. Do you think water and lava will be used as a weapon to ambush players?
I actually saw that earlier. I hope so. It makes me think of back in Warhammer Online. I don't know if any of y'all played that, but you could basically set up pots of boiling oil above your keep and shove it over on people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it'd be kind of cool to be able to use stuff like that as a weapon.
For sure. And I'm wondering what other sorts of things, if creatures will actually be able to like tunnel water through to where players are at in caves to try to drown them,
Oh,
or lava, or I guess if it's underground,
Oh,
it's still
yeah.
magma. Molten voxels. They will attack us with molten voxels. Alright. Next question. We're getting towards the end of the list here, which is great because we only have 15 minutes left. So the next question from Defense. When do you guys think we'll be able to wear more than 2 rings? Never! We will only have 2 accessory slots ever. It's the other equipment slots we're waiting on them to get in.
Yes.
Sorry.
And
That's...
the whole thing with the build and landmark, you have the adventurer class, and everything that you can do is based on what you have equipped. So you have like a pick, which is a tool, or you can have a sword, which is a weapon, and they allow you to mine resources. They allow you to attack things. But everything else that you're wearing, it'll affect things like the way that you move. It'll affect things like, with the light stone, the light source, and hopefully, they'll have like actual effects, and hopefully, creating a synergy between them is more important than just trying to get best in slot for everything. And hopefully, there'll be a point where the sort of meta of the game, depending on what you're doing, will settle to the point where, we do have like actual builds that we can go for, like with a specific purpose in mind for like, group delving down to tier 5. Hopefully we're going to need people with certain abilities and certain skills, and create a group synergy rather than just a solo player synergy. And I think that's when the system's going to start getting really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, just thinking about like, okay, I've got a spear, I've got a lunar anklet, I'm just going to do the Dragoon class from the Final Fantasy series. Jump up in the sky, jump spear tip down on my enemy. Rinse, repeat. That's the kind of stuff I'm looking forward to with the interaction of what you can use as your accessories and what you can use as your equipment. But they've talked about, they didn't call it moon boots, they didn't call it lunar boots, because boots will be a separate item of their own. So boots are confirmed. As far as we know, Landmark is at least a costume and boot simulator.
Boot simulator.
Boot simulator. Well, I mean, Team Fortress 2 is a hat simulator, so it is what it is.
Well, it's interesting as far as, because they're selling complete outfits in the marketplace. But if we do end up with a system where we have separate slots for, what's it normally, like chest, trousers, shoulders, all the usual things, will we have the option to show those individual pieces, or will we always display one complete outfit?
I think that's part of the modular stuff. I'm pretty sure all of the stuff that we see in the game right now is designed in such a way that there are modular pieces that can be added and removed, as the aesthetic requires. And we might even get more customization of those things over time, or maybe not. Maybe all of these things are locked in, and all of the other items are, kind of placed on top of it, or kind of inside of the current costumes. But I know they're definitely taking all of that stuff into consideration, and hopefully it's not going to be like sleeves clipping through things all the time, like DCO has some trouble with that. Uni, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Now put it
Oh
on a
my
stick,
God.
and you've got Stachys's duck hammer, or was
Oh,
it
that's right.
duck stick? Yeah.
Is Rama? Yeah, okay, good. Rama's here. I was like, he needs to see this.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
some real awesome stuff you guys
What's-
are doing there, you folks.
Oh,
nice.
Lord Duck. Awesome.
He's a king, you
His name
know.
is King George Bob Walter.
Oh, very nice. And can his scepter be a scepter with a duck at the end, with a smaller duck holding a smaller scepter?
Naturally.
Wait.
Okay.
And
So.
and when he waves it around at people, making decrees and making unnecessary laws and stuff, he's got to wave it around and go every time he does it. It's going to
Yes.
be fantastic.
Oh, that was awesome.
All right.
Rama says ducks shall rule landmark.
That's right. The ducks will rule all.
Yep. So, Tobes 101 asks, do you think monsters will be able to get through anything like a grid of tiny microvoxels or thin glass, or do you think a few microvoxels blocking a window can stop them? Creatures are going to be able to destroy voxels, and if they know that they can get to you through voxels, they'll destroy them. Now that creates an interesting question, because voxels are visually considered as transparent, or they have the holes in them that you can see through, but functionally in terms of actually blocking objects, they still count as solid space. So I wonder if creatures will actually have the ability to spot things through microvoxel grates, or if they'll be limited to looking at microvoxel walls as if it was a solid wall.
The other thing there is, I mean, in the ground, different elements have different durability. So, like, that's why it takes more swings to mine, say, alabaster than it takes to mine silver. And so it's like, if they apply that to voxel destruction, that say, like, if you have iron bars on your windows or iron doors, that then it becomes more of a fortress than if you, like, have glass everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, even there's the tier rating to take into account as well. Like if you have a diamond castle and a goblin only has a stone pick, will he ever be able to break down the diamond wall?
That's a good point, yeah. That'd be pretty cool.
No
You went
idea.
so value then.
No idea. I mean, they might also have some
That'd be
sort of
pretty cool.
explosive that they can use as a last ditch thing, and maybe if they manage to damage some of the diamond voxels, the next little goblin that comes by can potentially round them up and use it to make a diamond pick of their own. But I don't know, once again, how much creatures will actually be able to attack people on their claims, and how much attacking claims they're going to be able to do. The Iron Golem going in the Karen's house was exactly that. It was a Karen. That's Norath. That's next. This is Landmark. So I don't really know if that sort of
Yeah,
interaction
but
will be the
surely
case.
we'll have settings for that.
Potentially.
How cool
We'll
Maybe
have
if you-
settings for that. In the same way that we can set different types of PvP, surely we'll be able to set different types of PvE on claims as well.
Yeah, like what if you could actually kind of almost set up like a tower defense game, couldn't you?
Yep.
You could set up like, if you had, okay, X number of mobs are going to attack, and if because we know that voxels have health at least in mining, and so you could extrapolate that to, your walls and stuff, and then you could like have to deal with it, and then at the end of the day just reset it.
Yeah.
Like as a tower defense kind of thing. Like that could be like that could be a type of mini game,
For sure. And that's and something once again I've brought up on a previous Into the Portal. Being able to have multiple dimensions in one's own claim space would be great, because then you can have, level 1 of the tower defense. Okay, it's complete. You press the button and then it moves to level 2. Same space, but it's a different dimension of it. And then you would basically only need one claim to do everything, but there would be, progression or other things unlocked, or whatever it be that prevents people from accessing the other dimensions until they're ready to.
Or could have it on different claims and like have a it teleports the person there.
Yeah, but that's expensive because you got to upkeep all those claims.
Yeah, but they're gonna wanna, but like, because then that's an incentive to play more, to
That's
like
true.
keep those claims up, and you know what I mean.
That's true. Of course, if they actually allow something where you can have an entry fee just to try it, then that could also help with the upkeep. So yeah, there's a lot of ways, and I think that's the sort of stuff they're really going to want to see later on when they actually have those features in. So, believe it or not, one final question. This isn't because I cut off the questions, though at this point I am, because we have 5 minutes left. But we actually somehow finally got through all the questions in Into the Portal. Don't know how it happened.
Wow.
Tobran,
folks
ask
are
a
awesome.
question.
Yay!
Yeah, Dobran, you want to get this one?
What's your question?
I shall do
What's
the
your
honours.
question, Toby?
My question is, can you foresee their marketplace for hiring skilled landmark players, i.e. separate to building/selling template stuff on the marketplace?
Hell yes. I plan to make a
definitely.
lot of station cash just plopping down a claim in an area, hollowing out the mountain real nicely, maybe doing a little bit of feature work, and then just putting it up as a market item that someone can buy. They'll just buy the claim outright full from me. It'll be all nice and hollowed out for them. Then they can crap shack it up or make it really awesome or whatever they're gonna do. But real simple. It only takes me about less than an hour, probably about 30 minutes to do a full claim size section and just heal it back up. I definitely want to be doing that sort of stuff. And I know a lot of people here, we all have our various different specialties and how we can build and what we can build. So I could really see a lot of that. Now, okay, Kara, what are you talking about? You don't mean for the marketplace? You just mean...
I'd like to see a contract system, because then you could be like, hey, I'll pay, if you'll pay, I'll pay you, X amount of whatever currency, and give you the materials if you build me a castle and I tell you how I want it.
Yeah.
That'd be cool too.
They actually were talking about a non-marketplace system where it's just being able to, I don't know if it's with materials or station cash or however, but just be able to hire people directly and have them doing work on the claim. That totally seems reasonable.
Well, I don't know about how hiring people's going to work. I think if you're working in a subjective medium, it can get quite difficult. Like if you hire someone to make something and then you don't like it, like how are they going to work that out? But as far as like getting builders like into guilds, like if you think like large guilds are going to really want the best builders to make the best things, for their claim, when we get into the real kind of competitive stuff, when we get into building stuff for EQ Next, there's going to be massive competition for the best builders, the most popular builders. The people who, they might be, there might be other people out there as good as them, but there will be people whose stuff always rises to the top because theirs is the stuff that people go and look at and upvote. The people that can market themselves well, and there'll be huge competition from different guilds to give them what they want to support things. They're going to be saying, we've got a whole raid team of 30 people that go out for 2 hours 3 times a week down to those tier 5 areas. You're going to have like unlimited resources to work with. You can have all of these diamonds that we've got lying around, and we've got all this moonstone or Ethereum or whatever that we've just got lying around, paying them in that. And I expect that you'll end up in these contract situations. At least I hope so, because I think it'd be brilliant.
So, by the way, everybody, I just started a giveaway here. We're gonna do the wrap up here. Does anybody have any last thoughts on that last question before we wrap up?
Nope.
All right. So while the giveaway goes, we'll do our final wrap up here. So, starting from the upper left, Era, why don't you tell us your stuff?
Well, basically, I'm here on Twitch, era_gaming. I do Landmark every Monday through Thursday and Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific. I typically do modern builds, although I'm going to be doing sci-fi pretty soon. That's going to be fun. And I'm also on Twitter and YouTube. You can find the links to all of that on my Twitch page.
Cool. All right, Locke.
Is it me? Hello. Yeah, my name's on the screen. You can find me on Twitter at Lock6Time. You can find me on YouTube at Lock6Time. You can follow me here on Twitch. I don't have a streaming schedule because I have a job, which means I can't have a streaming schedule. But I do stuff occasionally, so you can come along and chat to me. And what else do I do? Zam.com. I write a column called You're Next. A new one's going up tomorrow. And I also like to wear hats and headphones and get sweaty ears on podcasts.
Lovely. All right. Thanks for the follow. Stackus, you're next.
I'm next. I'm Sergeant Stackers. You can follow me at Sergeant Stackers on Twitter and Sergeant Stackers on Twitch. I'm currently building giant pink testicles, and make sure if you watch my show that you do it without pants on, because you know that's how we roll. Yeah. And give all the love to the bearded warriors and Amazonian or whatever the princesses. I still think they should be called bearded princesses though.
Stackus.
Wait, can't we all be bearded princesses? Are you
I'm
telling
happy
me?
with that.
Are you telling me
Yeah.
that I can't be something because of my gender?
You're
No, I'm
a
telling you.
rock.
We can all be bearded princesses. I'm happy for that. I really am.
You're disgusting. Like an
Am I really?
Neanderthal.
Nobody has hit the giveaway number, by the way. You folks all suck. Actually, you don't, but I see people starting to complain about not being able to win stuff. So, like, you know, keep it up. Keep it up. You'll eventually get it, you know. Someone will just start from 1 and go to 100, and someone will start from 100 and go to 1, and one of them will get it. Anyway, Uni, why don't you tell us about your stuff?
First off, I want to say, Stockus, I built you your duck with the scepter with the smaller duck on my claim if you want to come see.
Oh, I have to. I'll have
But,
to. I'm just gonna delete the evidence that some 12-year-old was on my claim with pink lumicite.
But yeah,
Staggus.
I'm here on Twitch as Super Fancy Unicorn, and then on Twitter as Super Fancy Uni. So I stream every day around 3 o'clock Central. Y'all should come check it out.
I'm so tempted to just put the answer in, because the chat roll's been going for a little while and nobody's got it. It's so funny.
Can you repeat the thing? Because I think some people who are hanging out on my channel and may not have seen it. So can you like
Oh,
repeat what I
congrats. Actually, Damien Knight finally got it.
Okay, cool.
Congrats, Damien Knight. I will send it along to you after the show here. All right.
Yes. The duck scepter.
This duck is fantastic. I love it.
Does that
was
say all hail
All
the
hail
wing?
It was meant to be
the
king, but you know you can tell I do this a lot, so you know, be nice.
I like all
No,
hail
no,
the
no.
wing.
If you,
I like wing.
that's what I was gonna say. If it's all hail the wing, I'm like, yeah, that nice one. That was
I love it.
all hail the wing, baby. Right. That is so cool. I want to ride it.
Nice.
The victory.
All right, let's finish our wrap up here. Tobren, I see your game crashed.
Hello. Yes, it did. I can't
So-
bother restarting it. So I'm Tobran. So it's me. I eat Jaffa cakes and stuff. You can follow me on Twitter at Tobran Irnwood, and you can go subscribe to me on YouTube at user/Tobran Irnwood. I think it is. I could be wrong.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't usually stream often, but you can follow me and see when I do. I don't have a schedule, so yeah, that's me.
All
Any
right.
Closing comments?
That's it. I'm the last one here. I am Legendary Neurotoxin. You can find me here at Legendary Neurotoxin on Twitch. You can find me on Twitter at Legendary Neuro. I don't really do the YouTube thing quite as much, but I probably will be here pretty soon, considering I'm gonna have to put the show up here for everybody. So, that's it. That's everybody. You have been watching Into the Portal extra special build show because Geek Domo's been doing the awesome thing over at PAX. So that's it for the show, everybody. Thank you very much, and we will see you later.
Bye.
Bye.